I'm gonna continue to my two now
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
I had Marisa do it too. He didn't spend a ton of time here, but his impact as one of the first number one picks to make it big overseas made a lasting impact on the image of American soccer. And I'm sure almost everybody has seen his last minute goal for Rangers to win a title. Um, Drafted by Toronto FC in 2007, which is heartbreaking because, like Laren, if he played on any team that was half decent, he would be next level. But he was a more defensive minded center mid, still able to nab 6 goals and 1 assist in 41 appearances for Toronto before securing the move that got him into my number two spot, a 2.6 million euro move to Rangers in Scotland, which, as you mentioned, is massive money at the time. There, he won 3 league titles and 2 cups, making appearances. He wasn't on the bench for it, like Chelsea winning something and Pulisic being like, "Yay, look at me!" Right? Um, made him one of the most successful Americans abroad at the time ever. He played in the Champions League in Europe, not here because Toronto never made it there. He played in the NIT of the Champions League in Europe called the Europa, which is famous for teams like Union Berlin, Sevilla, and Europa Lona. He then came back to MLS with Philly, where he would make uh, I'm going to say 60 appearances, 6 goals, 3 assists, 46 American caps, and 1 senior goal. I think it's hard to argue that he wasn't top three most influential number one picks. You can probably argue three or two. I think, again, and you're right, it is based off of criteria. I think that he has made a bigger impact on MLS at the time than Kyle Laren has done so far. Kyle Laren can go on to do great things, and people say, like Alfonso Davies, look at this guy. Look at where he came from. Everybody kind of starts looking. He can be that guy, but Moadu was that guy, and that's why I've got him here.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, it might be just recency bias for me, considering I got to watch Kyle Aaron play and I didn't see Adu play.
I didn't either,
Uh,
really.
okay, but yeah, I mean, Laren was unreal. I feel like in this league,
No, no disagreements.
when I look at his numbers, by the way, I have him at 2. I think that was pretty clear. But
Whoa, really?
that was for the
Say
fans, not for
say
you.
it, say it for the TikTok.
Okay, at 2, I have Kyle Laren
Thank
for
you.
Orlando City. His numbers were just uncomparable to anybody. The only one who has somewhat comparable goal contributions per 90 from what I was able to grab was Ben Bender, which obviously is on a pretty short sample size. So Kyle Aaron had 43 goals, which was easily number one, clear of everybody. And that was in 3 seasons. His minutes aren't super long. He had the second lowest minutes out of anybody in my top 10. But when he was here, he was electric. And like you said, for a terrible Orlando team, I think. I can't remember. I would assume so during that
Orlando
time
weren't
period.
good for a long time, so you're
Yeah.
okay.
He was the only other rookie of the year from number one draft picks, was also an MLS All Star. And if it weren't for Orlando being so awful at business, would have got, I would say, a much better move. Not to say that Besiktas wasn't like the right move for him, because obviously his career's panned out really well over in Europe. But I just think the way that they went about that business was a train wreck. He should have gone for way more than 1.85 million euros. That was incredibly low and poor on Orlando, but that's not shocking because they're consistently bad at that. But yeah, for me, I think it definitely is a bit of recency bias getting to watch Kyle Aaron play and just really not focusing too much on the time in Europe and more so on the time just in MLS.
Yeah, again, it's what you prefer. I think, regardless of what we like to think, the time overseas is going to make more of an impact on people who don't watch the league than the time in the league. Um, and you're right. I think if I just said, "Hey, listen, he made a move, they made a move, we all made a move," but if we're comparing just those 2-3 seasons that they both played there, Laren's clear, no question. But I think the impact of that move and having an American playing in the Champions League, playing in the Europa League, playing in all these competitions that people valued at the time as like golden tier, it puts Adu a step above.
I mean, in fairness, Laren's playing in those same competitions.
Sure, but he did. Moadu did it in 2008, 2009, 2010, back when it was unheard of for people to make those moves.
Okay.
So
I would somewhat make the argument that when Laren made it, it was still pretty fairly uncommon for guys to make that move from MLS. But
I think it was
I
more
think
more,
obviously
more common,
07 is
right? More common than
more rare.
when it do sure. Do you want it?
Well, there hasn't been enough yelling, so I made a change for number one. I've gone for Hamidi Diop at number one. 2023 drafted by Charlotte. 36 minutes and 3 appearances. Outrageous. Easily number one.
I'm not giving you anything.
Come on, I need an opening clip.
No, your opening clip can be you walking out the door.
Fine.